We just received huge breaking news. Nebraska has found their brand new defensive coordinator, one of the hottest names on the market, San Diego State's Rob Aurich. So in today's video, I'm going to give you my instant reaction. Who is this guy? What does he bring to the table? His pros, his cons. Is this a home run hire for the Huskers? Where do we go from here? And everything else you need to know. So really quick, this is big time breaking news. I'm fired up. If you are too, hit that like button. And also, folks, this is the calm before the storm. It's going to get busy in December, busy in January. And this is the only channel on Nebraska YouTube that posts breaking news, transfer portal content, coaching carousel updates just like this. If you want to stay in tune with the Huskers this offseason, it's no burn. Take 2 seconds. Join the family. Hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much. But without further ado, we have a lot to talk about. It was just announced that Nebraska has found their brand new defensive coordinator coming out of San Diego State. He goes by the name of Rob Aurich. Now, let's look at his track record to begin. He has only been San Diego State's defensive coordinator for 1 year, from 2025 up until now. Previously, he was San Diego State's D-line coach. He was at Idaho as a defensive coordinator from 2022 to 2023. He was also at Bemidji State, which is a D2 school, as their DC from 2015 to 2017. And right off the bat, I know people are going to look at that track record. They're going to say, well, he's only been a coach for about 10 years. How is this a good hire for Nebraska? Some people might say this is a reach. Well, you have to look deeper. Okay, take a note. He has only been at San Diego State for 1 year as a DC. Last year, in 2024, they had one of the worst defenses in America. So let's look at the statistics. How much did he improve that unit? And once again, in only 1 year over there in the Mountain West. Let me show you this, because these statistics are absolutely insane. San Diego State, in 1 year with Rob Aurich, is top 20 in pretty much every single category. They only give up 14 points per game. That's 5th in America. They only give up 280 yards per game. That's 9th in America. They only give up 0.2 points per play, which is also 5th in America. They have one of the best red zone defense in America, one of the best third down defenses in America. You go down to them stopping the run. That's the big thing. We want a defensive coordinator who knows how to stop the run. Well, he checks that box. They only give up 116 rushing yards per game. Once again, that's top 25. You go to passing yards. We need to be able to stop the pass. Again, that's college football nowadays, especially in the Big Ten. They only give up 160 passing yards per game. That right now is also top 10 in America. They're one of the best when it comes to taking the ball away. They're one of the best when it comes to getting the quarterback in the sack department. He has a history of being a D-line coach, particularly with the defensive ends. That's something that was kind of a non-negotiable for us. So again, is the experience there? Maybe not, but he's one of the hottest names on the market because he completely rebuilt, once again, one of the worst defenses in America 1 year ago to quite literally one of the best. And again, it's not like they have a bunch of talent over there at San Diego State. He did it in 1 year. And by the way, this is somebody who's an up-and-comer. He's only 37 years old. So if he's good right now, he's this good as one of the hottest names on the market. Imagine how good he's going to be with 5 more years of coaching on his belt, maybe 10 more years. He also runs a 4.25, which was a non-negotiable for us. We talked about that ad nauseum, or we cannot have a defensive coordinator who runs a 3.35 anymore. We can't have that. We need somebody with 4 defensive linemen on line of scrimmage. He runs a 4.25 that's needed in the Big Ten. Some people want a 4.3, but 4.3, this is not realistic nowadays in modern day college football. You need 4 defensive linemen, you need 5 DBs pretty much all times, and you need 2 linebackers. So Rob Aurich, let's talk about the boxes that he checked, because again, we have 7 ideals that we're looking for. 7 ideals in our future defensive coordinator. Well, does he check all these boxes? Let's start off. The first thing that we needed by far was strong experience of being a defensive coordinator for at least over 10 years. Now, he does not have that box checked, but you know what? I'm willing to look past that. Yes, experience was very important to me, but again, with his experience at San Diego State, with the rebuild he undertook at Idaho, he had one of the best defenses at Idaho when he was there, one of the best defenses in D2 at Bemidji State. So this is somebody who's clearly an up-and-comer. You know what? It would have been nice to have experience, but again, he has 10 years of experience, just not 10 years of being a DC. It is what it is. You go on to our second ideal. We wanted somebody who's a great recruiter. Well, he definitely has that box checked. Talked to a couple San Diego State fans over these past couple minutes, seeing what they're saying around losing their DC, and they lose one of the biggest recruiters they have on the staff. So he's a great recruiter. He's energetic. He's innovative. That was my third thing. We need somebody who's always trying to get better. I wanted one of number 4. Somebody who is an up-and-coming future head coach. He absolutely is that way. Again, I didn't want, a stone age 55, 60, 65-year-old who's at the end of their coaching career. Because despite the fact that coach might have a lot of wisdom, we need somebody who's not complacent, who's always trying to improve, who's always trying to get better. Okay, that's how you're going to bring the best out of this unit. Okay, that's the Nick Saban philosophy. Nick Saban never hired these, older guys. He always hired the up-and-comers, the Kirby Smarts, the Dane Langs of the world. That's why he was always successful. That's why Nick Saban's the GOAT, the greatest to ever do it. And that's the Matt Rule philosophy. That's what Matt Rule just did, hiring Rob Aurich. So checks that box. We wanted somebody who runs a 4-2 we wanted somebody who runs a 4-3 or a 4-2-5. Well, we have that box checked now. We wanted somebody who's ideally not coming off of being fired. Well, I have good news. This guy has never been fired in his life. We wanted somebody who has ideally a background in defensive line coaching. Well, he started off as a defensive line coach, so that's great. And we want somebody who's a winner. And with this track record, it's safe to say this guy wins. He's won. He's won at San Diego State, won at Bemidji State. He won at Idaho. He's a winner. Now, again, not like a huge history, right? He hasn't been a coach for 20, 30 years, but with what he's done so far, one of the most winning coaches in his span, and hopefully he continues that at Nebraska. So those are the boxes that we wanted checked. He checks pretty much almost all of them. But let's talk a little bit specifically about San Diego State's roster. Who can we poach? Because I know that was a big thing for people. They wanted to get a DC who we can, poach some talent. I mean, let's just dive into the statistics. Some guys who maybe will come alongside him to Nebraska. There's a couple I have my eyes out for. You got to start things off with their tackling leader, who is only a sophomore, Owen Chambliss. Now, he has 2 years eligible remaining. He's 6'3", 230 pounds. He had 4 sacks this year for San Diego State. He had 67 total tackles. He had over 100 tackles when you combine the solo and assists. So, again, over 100 tackles, 4 sacks, somebody's 1 interception, 5 passes defended. Again, 2 years left. This is somebody I have my eyes out for. This is a big-time linebacker who, if he doesn't go to Nebraska, he's probably going to go to a different program in the Power 4 ranks. And what I was just seeing from him, he got speed on him too. He has size. He's a big linebacker who's built for the Big Ten. So I have my eyes out for him. You got Dwayne McDougal, who's a junior safety, 1 year left. He's one of their best players on defense. He had about 40 tackles from this season, 1 forced fumble, 3 interceptions. We absolutely need some help in this defense, particularly in the secondary, because we're losing everybody. This is somebody I have my eyes out for. You got Trey White here, who's one of their best edge rushers. He had 7 sacks. He was their sack leader, 1 year left. Watch out for him. So again, they got some studs on this defense who really played well. I expect him to bring at least two of these guys. I'm hoping it's the standouts. But again, this is a team that get to the quarterback on the year. Yeah, they had 32 sacks, one of the best in America. So again, quite literally, this defense was elite in almost every single category. So watch out for that. Again, he's a great recruiter. That's something that was not negotiable. We need somebody who's a great recruiter, right? He can absolutely recruit. So let's talk about the importance of getting this done, where we go from here. I told you guys earlier today, I expected this to happen very quickly. I expected by Saturday. I didn't think it was going to happen this quickly. I didn't think it was going to happen Sunday. I was watching the Nebraska Crane basketball game, and I got the notification on my phone and started blowing up from the subscribers. But it was very important Nebraska got this done, because simply put, we need to attack the portal when it opens up. We need to get ready for the portal. The portal is pretty much already open. So it was imperative Nebraska gets a DC here as quick as possible to, number one, retain our talent, retain, our top guys on defense, whether it's a Vintage Avers, a Keona Davis, Willis McGahee, Jeremiah Charles, Larry Tarver, guys like that. So it's important that we brought in DC to do that immediately. It's important that we brought in DC to potentially help with the bowl game. We don't know if he's going to coach in the bowl game yet, but there's some sources that indicate that he might. So that was very significant. It's important that we get, a guy who's familiar with Lincoln by the time the portal opens up, so we can go get some top talent. And it's important that we snag our guy right now, because if we didn't hire him now, he probably wouldn't have went elsewhere. Like, he was already getting interest from some other Power 4 schools. So I know some people are going to be kind of mad about this hire. And this is my message to everybody. Some people will be mad that we didn't get Vince Karras. And I get it, right? I like Vince Karras. You could argue Vince Karras had a better track record than this guy. You could argue that. Some people are going to be mad we didn't get Jim Knowles. People are going to be mad we didn't get, Jim Leonard, some other candidates that maybe some people wanted. I understand all that. But as I've been trying to preach to you guys throughout this process, those other names weren't realistic. Like, Vince Karras was realistic. We had an offer on the table. He declined. This was clearly our second option. Like, Jim Leonard was just not realistic, right? Jim Knowles was just not realistic, okay? This was a realistic hire who's an up-and-comer. Again, we need these up-and-comers. I know everybody wants guys with 30 years of experience, and trust me, I do too. But we just watched Indiana win a Big Ten championship yesterday, okay, with Kirk Cinetti as their head coach. Everybody wants to be Kirk Cinetti. Everybody wants to be Indiana, but nobody's willing to take the risks like Kirk Cinetti did. When Kirk Cinetti was hired there, nobody else really wanted him. Nobody wanted the JMU head coach, so he went to Indiana. Okay, that was not perceived as a great hire at the time. But turns out he's one of the best coaches. I would say Kirk Cinetti is the best coach of college football. He brought alongside him a bunch of neglected coaches who nobody's ever heard of. And look at what they're doing. So this is Nebraska's opportunity to put their money where their mouth is. This is your opportunity as a fan to put your money where your mouth is. Everybody wants to be Indiana. Everybody wants to find these underground up-and-coming coaches, up-and-coming players. Are you willing to take the leap of faith? This is the leap of faith. So you have two choices right now. You can sit here and say, well, I wanted Jim Leonard. I'm not going to support this hire. This was not a good move by Matt Rule. He made a reach. You can say that. Or you can say, you know what? His track record is impressive. while he hasn't been coaching for too long, again, his track record is full of success. You can see that he is an upward trajectory, that he turned San Diego's defense to be one of the best in America. You know what? I'm bought in around this coach, and I believe that he is an up-and-comer. I believe that he could be, again, a home run for the Huskers when it's all said and done. We'll see, man. We'll see. And trust me when I tell you this, we might get some clarity along with the rest of this coaching staff very soon. He's going to get here, he's going to assess the situation, and we might have some more changes coming to this defensive coaching staff very, very quickly. So, all right, guys, let me know your thoughts down below about this hire. I have my thoughts. Let me know yours. Hey, if you made this far, hit that like button, subscribe. As always, folks, go ahead and go, roll, and I'll see you in the next one.